So we're approaching the High Strangeness house, which I have to drive past every single day. I leave my house and go anywhere. It's that close to me, which I guess wouldn't really make too much of a distance that a duppy or a paranormal entity would have to travel if it wanted to follow me home. Oh wow, there's somebody going in there. Oh shit, I wonder if... Did somebody move in there? It was for sale, you know. Let me put on my hazard. Whoa, there is somebody in there. Can you even see it? Yep, that's it. That's the house. Yeah, that house is a bit much. It's beautiful, but I'm like really relieved I don't have to go in there all the time anymore. I chose it. I chose this destiny for myself. Good luck to the new owners. Maybe they know it's haunted. I feel like that's a thing that you have to tell somebody when they buy an old plantation house. If they decide to knock it down, I'm pretty sure that you can knock down a structure, but you cannot knock down the unseen entities that live in the structure. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Time will tell. I'm gonna show you a series of photos, and they might not look like much, but when I tell you that the couple of minutes following the time that I took those were the craziest of my life. Hey guys, I'm Didi Beck and I am a filmmaker. I'm really intuitive and I recently retired from psychic readings. Today I am telling you the story about the ghosts that I met on my film set. In the summer of 2020, I made my first film, which is called High Strangeness. That was the first real film set that I had run as a director. I also wrote that film. It was an incredible experience in all kinds of ways, learned a lot. Now, the film itself is about a psychic girl who lives with her ancestral ghosts in an old plantation house. We found the perfect house to shoot this movie in. So we shot High Strangeness in a plantation house in Jamaica. A plantation house in Jamaica is called a great house. In fact, I think lots of Caribbean countries call it the great house, but it's the plantation house on old estates. The house, I think, was built sometime in the 1700s, and this one family has owned the house for literally centuries. The way that we found this house was very serendipitous. It felt very much like it was meant to be. And when my producer Carlene and I went to tour the house, it definitely had like an energy. What sealed the deal for us was that the house had well-documented invisible tenants. During the days that we had access to the house for rehearsal, I made sure that every day I came in and I greeted the house and the invisible residents of the house that I hadn't met yet. I said, "Hey everyone, I'm Didi. I'm gonna be making a movie here. Thank you for letting me be here. This is a gorgeous place. I understand that you live here and I will do my best to take care of this beautiful, beautiful space. And feel free to make an appearance, should you so please." I meant that for my film. I didn't mean that to me. We were at this house with the caretaker and just us. So on this particular day, it was 5 of us there. Sharon, the caretaker, and me and my cast. There's a scene that didn't make it into the final film where Stella, the main character, leaves the dining room and she comes back in and all the ghosts are there, and I was blocking this scene with my actors and they were all in the dining room and it was just me showing them the first time how I wanted it to be. I left the dining room and I left them in the dining room and I step into this vestibule outside of the dining room before you get to the kitchen, and all of us I just felt it. That was the first time. I felt it. I saw just the briefest moment of the door at the side of the stairs moving, and I thought it was Sharon because she's the only other person there with us who wasn't in the room with us, but then I heard her laughing outside, So I was like, aside from like seeing that little thing, I could just tell. Like, I don't know any other way to describe it other than like I just had the feeling that I was not in that vestibule alone. Like, it felt like a kid energy. It didn't feel bad, but it felt like, you know, weird. It feels weird because you're being watched, but it felt very curious and very like, hello. And I said hello. I didn't really know what else to say because truthfully I was like a little bit freaked out. Like, I was just hyper aware that I was not the only person in that room. I didn't tell anybody about that because, you know, I don't think it would have been taken well. I just stood there for a second and just like, after a minute I left the vestibule and I'm like, okay, just so you know, I'm all right with you being here. Thank you for letting me be here too. And I did not feel that particular energy again when I was there, but it stayed with me. Like, it like soaked into my bones a little bit, and I was hyper aware that we really did have company in this house. The second incident was like equally as weird. So we recast Stella twice, and ultimately my sister ended up playing the main character. We were there at the house together, just the two of us plus Sharon, so it was the three of us there that day, and we were rehearsing in the bedroom the various scenes where Stella is trying to banish the ghosts. And all throughout filming we just hear this knocking, and we're both kind of pretending that we don't hear it because it sounds like a banging. My sister will talk more about this in part 2 because we were actually talking about this recently, and I decided that I had to break this up into 2 parts because it really was that dense of a story. Now, the third incident is the one that it shut me down for a while, like half a year. It was the final day of rehearsals. So this was 2 days before we shot the actual film. Me and Sharon, we finished rehearsing with the actors, they went home, and the woman who owns the house, she texted me because she actually lives abroad. She texted me and she was like, hey Diddy, could you take some photos of the bathroom because we want to send it to the contractor. They were renovating the bathroom. And I said, yeah, no problem. So once all my actors left, I went up to the master bedroom bathroom to take some photos. Now, the master bedroom is upstairs at the end of the hall. This house is a 2-story house, and upstairs is one long hallway with doors on either side. And I am sure you can imagine how unnerving it is to be in a space like this by yourself in a plantation house. This was about 5:30 in the evening, about the time it is right now that I'm filming it, so this light is accurate. It was a beautiful day. I go up the stairs, I do it very quickly, and I walk down the hall. All the doors are closed. I go all the way to the end of the hall, I turn left, I open the door to the master bedroom, it's a very big room, I leave the door open, I go to the bathroom, and I take these pictures. These are normal pictures. There's nothing wrong with these pictures. But the time after, like when I finished taking those photos, I put my phone down, I turned around, I left the bathroom, and I went to the door of the bathroom and I turned off the light and I looked up and I saw him in the doorway. There was a man there staring at me. It was not like a clear formed man, but it was a tall ass shadow man. This was a very tall man, and he was kind of slender, and he was standing up very tall, and he was standing in the doorway looking at me. And the way that he looked was like, I couldn't see features, I couldn't see a face, I couldn't necessarily see body parts or even clothes or anything, but it's like when you stare at a light source for too long, like you stare at the sun and then you try look at anything else, and it's just like that sunspot thing where you can't focus on the thing, it's just like a void. I mean, I've described seeing ghosts like this before, but the man was like a shadow man. I couldn't see him. He was a dark shadow. Ugh. But he was standing there in the doorway looking at me like, hello? I don't know you. And I just froze. Like, this description is taking much longer than the actual moment was. Truthfully, this moment was like a half second, but it felt like forever because I was so petrified. I looked at this figure looking at me, and everything was just cold. I got goosebumps all over my body, like the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and like the place was just frigid just for a half a second. And then, like, as quickly as I saw it, and it was truthfully just a half a second, the thing turns and walks down the hallway. And I could see it walk down the hallway because, like, the door was open, and you know that little hinge beside the door, so you can, like, see, like, it's like the little crack in the hinge by the door. I saw the shadow walk across it. So, like, it blocked out the light and everything. I was so freaked out, like, oh my god. After, like, I got my wits about me, I just darted across the master bedroom, closed the door, and I turn around and I look down the hallway, and every single door in the hallway is open. And I'm like, Sharon, I'm leaving. I didn't even bother close the doors. I just like ran down the hallway, darted down the stairs, and I grabbed my bag and I like shot out the front door. And I was like looking around for Sharon, and Sharon is nowhere to be found until I look around and I see her at the very edge of the property. I think she was like watering a plant or something, but Sharon was not nearby. Like, I was the only one in that house. I guess because I had been talking to the others who live there, that they felt comfortable showing themselves to me, or maybe they would have done that anyway. But damn, by the time I got to set 2 days later to actually shoot the thing, I was like wired. I'm like, okay, it's time to shoot my first film. I am not the only one here. I can see things, and I am
You're hoping that they know that you're hoping that they're gonna be in the movie with you.
No, Mommy, you're asking them directly.
No, some like assume that they're gonna be in the movie. Tell me.
No, because they're scared and they're like, what the hell is happening?
They're not scared.
Mommy, they don't like it.
I don't know if they're scared or what, but like today I walked into the house, I'm like, that was very scary on Saturday. Please don't do that again. I'm very happy to be here with you guys, but that was really, please don't scare me, please.
Did they
I
answer
think you
you?
need to ask them from tomorrow.
You should ask them then. Do you want to, hey guys, you want to be in the movie?
Just feel like this has never happened before.
This is
Like,
a
this
real
would be a
opportunity
big
to
deal.
shine. Do you want to be in the movie? You know how cool you all could make this movie? You could make it.
And then you
really
start begging
cool.
them.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Will somebody please explain to this future documentary what we're talking about?
The duppies.
Duppies.
I know, but what context?
That they exist
In the house that
house.
Diddy's filming her famous film in, they came to see who she was
And what she was doing.
And they didn't really like it because they weren't really open to the idea of making new friends.
I don't think that's what
I
happened.
don't think so either. I
But-
think,
Or
I
they
think they
needed
probably-
to investigate the scene.
or they probably feel like they were left out.
No, they just didn't know what I was doing and they came to investigate. Eventually I told this to the owner of the house because she had mentioned that she had had some experiences. And she was like, oh great, they found you. And I'm like, mm-hmm. But she said that she grew up in this house and there were multiple times when she had seen like a man just sitting on the little ledge outside her front door, and she knew what she was seeing. She didn't engage, she didn't talk to them, but she knew she was seeing a ghost. She said it took her her entire adult life to then ask her dad if anything had happened in the house or if anybody else had experienced anything in the house, and he was like, yeah man, I see people all the time. People meaning duppies. So we oh my god. Now, did I tell this to any of the cast and crew working on High Strangeness? No. There are 4 things in the world that Jamaicans are afraid of, and those are roaches, roaches with wings, croaking lizards, and duppies. Had I said anything at all, no one was coming to work on this film. After that day in the master bedroom, I was fully shaken. That was the incident that made me shut down for like a good half a year. I literally said out loud to myself in my room later that day, I am officially closing this portal because I cannot deal with this right now. I am unavailable. But it felt like the top of my head had been blown off, and that just I was exposed to everything, and I hated that feeling. Up until that point, I had mainly just seen and interacted and felt people I knew, or like energies I knew. This was the first time I had like this was the first time I had seen, like with my eyes, a full like thing that I did not know. I didn't know what their intentions were, and it freaked me out. After that, I was like, I think I'm done with ghosts. I think this is the last thing that I'm gonna do with ghosts, because I'm not sure I can handle this. This is a bit much. That was in August 2020. Since that, I mean, I like to think that I've always had a respect for the unseen world, and I've always had a respect for where the veil is, and a full understanding that the veil is so thin, it is essentially just a theory. After that evening, I have a whole different level of respect for it, because I was in it. I touched it for a second there, and I didn't like it. At that moment I realized, oh wait, I came to Earth to be a human for a reason. I don't think I want to be this much in the unseen world as much as I thought I did. I still interact with it, but in a spirit way, not like a I talk to dead people way. This isn't even the end of the story. I'm gonna need my sister to tell you about it with me. So there's a part 2. Stay tuned, because for a couple days after, we were not alone. They're talking about
There is a piece of
Wait, no.
They're talking about me personally asking these duppies at the location to be in the film. Hi Paxton. Because yeah, we want. They're telling me to ask them ahead of time, so they have time to think about it and decide as a group.
Think about it and decide as a group.
The duppies need time to decide and think about it as a group.
And tell them exactly when it will be.
My plan was to go there on shoot day and be like, hey, if you guys want to be in this, cool, jump in anytime.
No, you have to ask them ahead of time.
Yeah, you have to ask them.
Give them a heads up and let them be comfortable with it. Let them be excited.
And maybe they'll get their frocks on.
Well, that's true.
Treat them like the people that they are.
You
Residents
know,
of the house.
anyhow, either of you were in this situation. I was in Saturday.
And also, please know I've watched more ghost adventures than one can count. And I know that sometimes they come home with you.
They don't what?
I know sometimes they come home with you.
Yeah, I think these are attached to the house because that's their safe haven, so
Oh, then we're good.
yeah.